Okay, so let's actually start in a seated position where your knees are a bit wider to just roll through the spine. You can have the hands on the thighs and find an arch position and use the rounding of the spine to move forward and back. And stay with a neutral position. One knee is down and one leg is straight out to the sides. And we use the top arm to circle around. If you want, you can, as you go back, also open the chest and the hips more. If it doesn't feel good, just stay with the neutral spine position. You do 3 big circles over the back. Use the bottom knee to open the side ribs as well. And then we switch to the other side. And 3 big circles backwards on this side as well. And we find in a tabletop, starting 3 big circles with the right knee outward and up. Reach up and back. And then place the knee behind your left knee and go a bit forward and back to open the side of the hip. Back to neutral tabletop, and we start the outward circles with our left knee facing over the side to the ceiling. And then place it behind the right knee. Go in your range of motion, forward and back, whatever feels good for you today. And then neutral tabletop. Rotate a few times the elbows out and in, and use this to also feel where is your whole palm connected and when do you feel more on the edges of your hand. And then keep that neutral position for your hands and elbows, and let the shoulders protract and retract up and down. Try to keep the rest of the spine neutral. Then neutral spine position, right arm forward over the sides. Flip the hand on the height of your shoulder. Try to guide it to the sacrum. Over the side, forward, pull forward, really stretch. Side, flip the palm towards the sacrum. 3 more like that. Try to go full range of motion in the shoulder. Here also, we don't really need the head. So find a neutral head position that keeps your spine aligned. Other side, left arm forward, over the side and back. 2 more times on the side. Find the length in the spine. And then in your tabletop, reach back towards the heels. And roll forward with a rounded spine, just 3 times. Try to keep the length in the back and almost feel like you're dragging yourself with your hands into the rounded position in the front. And then as the shoulders are forward, reaching yourself back into plank and shift from the feet to the shoulders and the wrists a few times. And back to sitting on your knees. Just gonna check for a moment. Okay. Astrid is still coming. I was just worried that she missed the time change in Germany because she wasn't there last week. So the thumbs are back. When the thumbs are back, the tendency is to take the arch back. So try to bring the spine in a neutral position, little circles back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep the thumbs up and back. Try to pull the thumbs back. My tendency is to stick the head out to the front. So really see if your head stays in one line with the spine and rather do tiny movements back instead of pushing the head forward and the shoulders back. 3, 2, 1. Then with the thumbs up behind the sacrum, try to pull the elbows together and release. Here also often we come into an arch. And the last one, maybe don't go for the full squeeze with the elbows, just so much that you can still lift the hands away from the lower back. Hold for 3, 2, and 1. Shake it out. With the open shoulder position, let's try to go into a reverse tabletop, any hand position that feels good, lifting the hips up. Try to find the external shoulder rotation and move a bit forward and back if it feels good. And then keep the hips lifted. Bring your left foot a bit more towards the center so you can bring the right knee up and then out to the side and up for 3, 2, pushing into the bottom leg, 1, switch. Start with the knee up, straighten the leg to the ceiling and out to the side. Only go as low as you can feel like you can bring it back with the side obliques. All the way back down. Once you're done, we go a bit more towards the legs and give the shoulders a break. Find a pyramid stand so that you have the hips parallel and just rock a bit forward and back. When you rock back, the front toes lift. When you rock to the front, you're on your back toes. That's the here, release the head and neck. And after a few, just stay in the forward fold and walk the hands forward to lengthen out the back. Till your fingertips are reaching the ground. See if your hips are really parallel. Push the inside of the thighs to activate the inner midline. Then we place the left behind the right and give ourselves a forward fold over both legs. Then we switch sides. So here the left foot was forward, find an equal stance with the hips, and we rock forward and back from the toes to front and back. After a few, you can settle in, walk your hands forward, drop your head and neck, but connect to your inner thighs. Kneecaps up so the knees are protected. And slowly step the right foot behind the left. Give yourself a forward fold. See if you can distribute the weight equally on both feet. Nice. Roll yourself all the way up to standing. And let's see, I'm gonna bring the screen down a bit more. You want to do a few rolls depending on how much space you have, but the feet and the arms are lifted. You want to roll onto the back into your hollow body shake and roll back to the front, not touching with the hands and feet the ground. I would say let's do 3 rolls in each direction. Maybe you have to turn around if you just have the size of a mat. Try to keep the feet together, and the soft or the slower you make it, the less bumpy it is on your hip and spine. I actually like to do that on hard floor, so I know that I do it very soft and slow. Almost feels like a little spiral in your spine. Keep the hands in a handstand position as much as you can. Looking good. And then after your 3 repetitions, find your hollow body position on the back. Lift the feet just so much up that you can do mini scissors connecting to the inside of the thigh, seeing if your feet are in one line. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now crisscross on top and lower. Go a bit higher and lower if you like. See how the tension changes depending on where your feet are. And then release. Take your hands on the knees and just give a little compression into the back. And then take behind your legs to find your mini straddle seated. Reach the arms forward to find the active compression. The more you stay, maybe the longer you can think about reaching out long. And then take a moment to release. Bring your hands down wherever they land. Roll it back up. Windshield wipe the knees from right to left. The same movement that we now did on our back in the hollow body position is what I want you to do in your handstand. So the scissors going forward and back. A harder version would be crisscrossing in the front and back. That makes you very aware of where your alignment is. For the people at home that want to work with the wall, you could also have the wall behind. One leg is always off the wall, and you try to just tap 1 foot at a time at the wall, but really find the middle. Try to think of really mini scissors. Makes it a lot easier to feel the center of the body and the alignment. Helps me to connect to the inner thighs and almost like feel them touching, especially when you go forward and back, but also when you crisscross, to avoid any rotation in the hip. And feel free to do them slow or fast, depending on the challenge that you want. When our brain is a bit in the feet, we tend to forget the foundation but start with the foundation. Very nice. Not about if the legs are doing perfect. It's more about a warm-up drill for your foundation. Super nice, Josie. So as well as for the mini splits, but also for the crisscross, it will invite your handstand shape to be a bit further back. Because if you're crossing the legs right on top or a bit to the front, it will pull you to the belly side. It's the same for the mini split. There's always one leg that's a bit further back. And when the legs are crossing is where the center is. So you might have to adjust that a bit. You can also switch between both forward and back and then crisscross if you really want to challenge your brain. Nice. Try to touch the inside of the legs, Astrid. Like really slide them. Because it also helps you to have a better rotation in the legs. Nice. Much better. Nice. Otherwise you have to do what I do and get this band and put it around your knees. It really helps, but it's also not an easy drill. Yeah, feel free to shake around and have also a break. Let me know if you have questions. I really like that as a warm-up drill for the foundation. I can also show you for the ones who want to play with it at some point. You don't have to try it right now, but if you have one of these loop bands, it's really nice to use that to even like kick up and then just use them to find the inner thighs or also open and close. You can do it for crisscross, but to really be aware of the inner thighs hugging. And it seems a bit pointless in this like mini version, but it really helps you to find the right rotation in the hip. Often the hip turns slightly out and the bend makes you a bit aware of that. You could also do that right on the ground, just feeling the muscles stabilizing your hip. If it's too scary to do handstands with these bands, just something I wanted to share with you. Sometimes it just helps imagining you have a band, but to be aware of it. Okay, we do a little bit of mobility from our squat. We try to roll up through the spine, come onto the toes. If you want a harder version of that, I would like you to go to the outside of your wrists and come back to really keep the weight in the hand and bring it back. Can be like a little hop as well, but try to make it soft. You can just come onto the toes. You can try the little hop, but we want to go to the outside of the wrist. Nice. This is only possible if you keep the weight in the hands. Otherwise, your body wants to bring the feet down. It's a normal reaction of your body to then bring the feet down. Nice. Cool. And then let's try to find the alignment on the back, where you get the knees out to the side, and try to play a bit with bringing the knees a bit further away, but blocking the core, because usually when we bring the feet away, we have space. So try to just push the ribs down as you bring the knees in and away from your body. But this foundation never moves. Just see where your body tries to pull you because the legs are attached to our core. And after you tried a few, find your good foundation with the back and hold on the inside of the knees. And as you pull the knees towards you, at the same time, push the legs away from you. That should create length in your lower back. And a little stretch on your inner groin. So the idea is to use that position in our frog, where we're not like hanging into our arch, but feeling this nice long frog position. So you can use whatever entry you want. That was too much frog jump. And if you have the range of motion, really play with it, arching and finding the nice long back position that you had now on the floor, and see maybe if you can use that to also go down to your toes and find back to your squat. If you practice that with a wall, have a little bit of distance away from the wall, at least 1 or 2 palms. Maybe touch the wall with the feet when you jump, and then 1 foot at a time, take it away. Find that position. Especially when you go down, you want to keep the head in, but that's also good for later, because if we don't get the head in and work with the compression, we will never get to our toe tap through the compression. So see what works for you and keep the rounding of the spine. It's also okay to just really work on the long alignment in the lower back from the frog. Nice, Josie. Very nice. We'll not do too many of them. So if you go towards the toe taps, just do 2 or 3 to feel the compression coming from the ribs and keeping the weight in the hands more as like a strengthening drill. Me, it feels like, yes, nice, Astrid. It really feels like I'm using the thighs against my body and then pulling the ribs more back to stay as close as possible to my body. Nice, Paula. That's it. Yes. Really good. Shalina too. Try to keep the hips up for as long as you can when you come down. Will make the compression better. Like a force you have to fight against. Yeah, you can also use it as a tap and go back up. Nice try. And that's the same. It really comes from keeping the hip up there. That's why, like a toe tap, as soon as you like drop in the butt, it's really heavy to hold. But if I'm keeping the hips up, it doesn't matter where my feet are. It's just about the hip really staying up there to use the core to help. Otherwise, it feels like I have to hold my leg in the nothingness. One last one if you like, before we move on. Nice. Yes, Astrid, go, go, go. Hips, hips, hips. Yeah, the direction was really good. And then that moment where you feel like your legs get heavy, try to imagine someone is pulling you on your pants on the back. So the first thing you want to get over is not the legs up, it's really the hip. That little moment of hip that needs to roll back will make the legs light. And on the way down, you do it really nice that the hip stays there. Go with the hips, 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 hips. Yes, nice. Super good. Yeah. Cool. Yay. Yeah, it's really the hips. And all the shapes, we want to figure out how to get the hips over. Okay. We can do one on the back to just get it into our brain. And either you do just tuck to straddle, but keeping everything on the line of your hip. And when you go tuck to straddle, you want to think of bringing the knees together rather than the toes and then the knees. So imagine there's something pushing on your knees together, and you can use the tuck to straddle to then also go into your side bend. Bring it back to tuck, open to straddle, go side bend the other way. Here too, the legs stay the same, and here you can really see are the legs on the same level when you move the hip and the rib closer together. It's not that I don't believe that everyone can do it. It's just if we're not aware of these details, that when we're upside down, the hips and the legs really stay the same, and it's coming from the ribs and the hips coming closer. We start twisting and kind of doing fancy things with our legs in the air. I show first the one without the wall, and then we'll go to the wall. So you start in your straddle or your tuck, and you keep the same alignment. You're just moving your knees open and close. If you integrate the side bend, I like to start in my tuck. As I open to the side, as I open into the straddle, I also go to the side to kind of use the energy. If you do it with the wall, I would say to do it belly to wall, to have the line from the toes going out. Sometimes I wish I could have paint on my feet so I really see the lines that I'm drawing. But I don't think my landlord would appreciate that. Yeah, see if you have enough space for whatever drill. You could also do the belly to wall with the side bend. Totally possible if you want to get a feeling for it. Try to imagine in your mind how straight and extended the lines of your legs are. Nice, reach the legs out as far as possible. That's it, Paula. Try to do the same on the left, reach out the legs. Left leg a little lower on this side. Here's nice. Now, left leg, drop the left leg a bit. Yes, that's it. Astrid needs a bigger house. Just enough for your straddle. Or you go sideways, but I don't know. That gives you more space. I have the same in this room. I really have to be aware how I do the straddle. And it also corrects your alignment if you really reach out the legs instead of having this like tiniest micro bend in your knees. That also just means the hip is kind of sitting a bit more instead of reaching out, and the hip and the pelvis elongates through that. But even if you just play right now with really stretching out and pushing the walls right and left away. Think with the hips, Shailina. Yes, good. Keep the hips in the same spot. Make the hips the focus point. Nice, good. I don't see your legs anyway, but I see that the hips is moving right now. So when we move from straddle to tuck, I would rather have you doing an easier straddle and tuck right now, but don't compromise any of your foundation, because then later on that will help you a lot more. Nice. Let me know if you have questions or if you need to see something again. If you want to make this drill really hard, you can also touch the outside of your wrist in this one. Yeah, so good, Shailina. Looks great. Keep the shoulders open, Josie. You have it. Yes, nice correction. So good. Nice. Yeah, and it sounds pointless, but if you have someone to like really look just at the symmetry of this exercise, it's really nice to like do it a few times slow motion and let someone tell you if the left leg or right leg is a bit higher or lower, and also from the shoulders. Symmetry comes from many different places, especially in handstands. It's often the foundation, and what we see on top is caused by what is actually happening lower in the body. And it can have many reasons. You have a question, Astrid? Picture frozen. Are you back? Yeah. Okay. Nice. Okay. Let's slowly move to the next one. You can also finish what you're doing. You want to do a half kneeling position with one leg in a straddle. And in this drill, already on the floor, see if you feel your hip and knee aligned and your straight leg straight. This by itself, when you really align it, should give you a good idea of how that shape would be upside down if you are planning to do it. And the side bend, you can also use that to go into the side bend and really try to get the ribs and the hips in and closer. I'll show it from the side as well. Here, you don't want to compromise anything forward and back. The hip does want to be open, so not slightly piked and not like a back bend, but you can really check the lines here, and you can, of course, do that on both sides. Take that moment more for your mental awareness and creating that alignment and knowing exactly how it should feel when you're upside down. You know, sometimes the floor drills like seem like pointless, but use it to create that internal image so you know how it feels in your handstand. How does it feel when you really push the knee down to have the front of the hip open, for example? If you are doing this in a handstand, you want to try to create that same feeling, getting the knee on top of the shoulder and having one leg down. If you do this with a wall behind, you need the distance of a shin. Let's see. Showing it from the side. Here two. One knee is pointed up and one leg is in the straddle, and I'm trying to have straight alignment in the spine. It's not this or too much to the front. So think pushing the knee up to the ceiling actually, but also having the knee hugged in. I have the tendency to get my knee out a bit, but we need the knee on top, especially if you want to try to go into a side bend. You want to start with the straight leg up and push so you have more space to go to the side. Would look like this. Start with the push and then go to the side. If you want, you can bring it back up and try it on the other side. You should feel when you push the knee to the ceiling and back that you almost have a hip stretch in the front when doing handstand. This one feels also quite intuitive and light for me to do a weight shift. What? You had a question, Astrid? No? It just unmuted itself. Nice. Yeah, knee to the ceiling, knee to the ceiling. So if the leg is externally rotated, it's hard. So get it in, like almost like in a double stack. Like one leg is in a double stack and one leg is in a straddle. Nice. And then you want to keep the knee as much up as possible. Never tried that shape. Doing it with the back leg against the wall is nice to give yourself some orientation. So the knee, having the knee in a good alignment is more important than the straddle, because if you use the straddle to orient yourself, it brings you usually more to the belly. If the top knee is not in one line with the shoulder and the hip, it pulls you very heavy to the belly side. Nice. Yeah, and Shailina is already doing it. You can use that as an exit too, if you also, just want to play with doing negative puppy presses. Start here, keep the knee up for as long as you can, and try to exit with that shape to the ground. Or you can also use it as a starting position to kind of jump in. Starting with the knee reaching up in the final position, going up, finding the shape, maybe switching, and going to the other side. Play around a bit, whatever other ideas you can come up with. They are always welcome. If you get an understanding that the top knee is helping your hip to be on top of the shoulders, that's what makes it light. Nice. just because we worked on it some last week too. I want to give it as an option. You can use this also to go a bit towards figure, going with the knee forward. Same on the other side. You're kind of starting the twist with the knee to the front and the leg that's straight is the back leg. To do like a figure with the bent leg in the front feels a lot not so heavy than with two straight legs, but it gives you an idea to go into the side twist. Yes, nice, Paula. Yes, that's it. Nice. Yeah, think with your back leg, because if the front leg, right now the front leg was a bit too low, and that makes it really hard to finish the twist. That's why I actually like this entry, but with the bent leg, try not to do more compression. If you want to do more compression, do it with the back leg, pulling back, because that allows your shoulder to be in a better position. In figure, I always have to think with the back leg, otherwise it gets really heavy in the front, and I have no chance to balance that. Josie's taking notes. Nice. I love that most of my students take notes. It's really nice. Yes, yes, yes. That's it, Paula. That's enough compression with the front. Back looks great. Nice. 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 Looking good. Try it on both sides. Play it with the exit or entry. Nice, Josie. Very slow motion. It's getting better. Nice to see. Yeah, and actually that transition that I was saying from the back to the front, even if you don't go into a full figure, it kind of looks nice to just twist it a bit, unravel it again, go do the other side. It's also a nice invitation to focus on the foundation and use the legs to kind of draw a bit in the air. Okay, you can join me for a pike drum if you like. Now I want to put the block under the feet. If you have very tight hamstrings, you may do that with like micro bend in the knees. Otherwise, I encourage you to have very straight knees. And the idea is also reaching forward. Let's try to do 5, like reaching forward, getting really long, and going out of it. And on the last one, try to stay for 3, deep breath. Feeling the inner thighs gluing together. My feet have the tendency to kind of open to the side, So I really have to glue the inner thighs together. Otherwise, the compression of the pike is actually not going into the right space, and you can try it. If the feet are opening, it's a very different stretch and feeling of the compression than if the legs are really together. And now just for the idea of the compression coming more from the core, put the block or a sweater, whatever, onto your thighs, reaching up and trying to put yourself and your belly and your ribs on top of the block. If you don't do that, you move the block away. So try to create as much length as possible and then try to squeeze the block there. The block also helps you to remind yourself to push the ribs back. Nice. Okay, give you a bunch of options to work on your pike. You can. The easiest one would be you start in your L shape. You bring the second leg to your pike and lower it down and try to use the pike as a pike down. If you want to work more, balancing, start in your L shape, and maybe it means starting the pike a bit higher, and then the more strength you build in the shoulders, you can bring it lower, and then see how low you can go before you fall. You could do that. Belly to the wall, starting here, finding your L shape, guiding the second leg and going down. If you want to switch a bit between that opening from a straddle, going into a closer straddle, and then bringing it all the way to pike, gives you also very good understanding. You start in your straddle, bring the legs a bit closer, really bringing the legs, like the closer I bring the legs, the more I create that sucking motion of the legs into the hips. And you can use that to bring it all the way together. If you can find that support from the ribs and hips that you found now with the block, the back of the shoulders have to work a lot. Yes, nice. Also work on your pike jumps or pike up to your full handstand and see how it relates. Start with your shoulders a bit more forward, Charlina. When you start, like now your shoulders are a bit back and your head is good, but you want to start with the shoulders on top of your wrist. You're just slightly back, and that's why your handstand doesn't want to go all the way up. So just adjust it a bit more forward, then your hips even a bit more, where you really feel the knuckles down into the ground. Even a bit more forward. I know it feels weird. And then get the hips up first before you open the legs. Yes, better. Now, when you bring the head in, it might feel like you're starting way too much forward, but yeah, like instead of being so focused on the head, focus more on having the shoulders on top. When the shoulders are on top, it looks from the side like the shoulders are slightly in front, because the front of the shoulder wants to be down in the knuckles. If I'm here, I'm not on top. So it's really here. Yeah, where the knuckles are really down. Yes, nice. But that tells your body very good where you want to find the balance. And it's mostly the starting position. If you're telling your body to actually have the weight here, it wants to balance here. Yeah, good adjustment. Nice. Just to build a bit that strength, like just having a moment, right? If you go from your L shape to your pike, having 1 second and then using your L shape again to go back up. Same with the straddle. If you're on the straddle and you narrow it, either just say second and go open, or go all the way from straddle to pike, but then open it again to also get used to a transition in pike. You're not only staying there for a second and feel like you're dying. I know it feels like dying sometimes in pike, but try to also get back to a place where you can breathe again. Nice, SG. Good. Yes. I personally also like going from pike to a straddle one arm shift, because in pike I have to work a lot in one arms too, and straddle is the transitioning place that still has the integration of the pike. If that's something you want to try, you can also try that. If you had enough pikes and shapes, you go back to your straight handstand and finding some lightness. After pike, straight handstands usually feel very nice and light, and that's cool to feel the alignment after that shape. Yes, Paula. Nice. Open and shift. Yes. Good. Nice. Super good. Try to take an extra second, Josie, to open the shoulders before you go down. Otherwise, it gets just heavier. Yeah, straight. Nice. Much better. Nice. Maybe also on your straight handstand, play a bit with like having soft parts in your handstand. Like, what is, for example, soft? Can your hands be soft and sink into the ground, but you can still feel aligned and straight, um, instead of having all parts really engaged. So see if there's something that you can relax, and even if it's just your face. that's what I'm working on right now, to not have such a focused face in handstands. It's really hard. Super nice flow, Paula. Yes, nice, Shailina. Even a bit more forward. Start. Yes. Yes, nice. It's like changing a lot, I know. But I like the awareness. Looks great. It's just now you're not using so much swinging anymore. If you place the whole body already in a good position, um, you don't need so much energy also as well. Nice. Very good. Stretch out long. Good. Nice, Astrid. Nice, Josie. Really good alignment. Nice. Yeah, keep the feet. Yeah. When the feet were actually much better, Astrid, in this last one. And feel when you're falling, if you can try to pull it from here. Not like a crunch, just if you can connect the hips and the ribs, that you don't move here. See if that helps you to stay there. Because the feet, in the one before, the feet were like in a mini pike, and now they were really straight, but then the core has to work more. For you to do for the next minute, whatever you feel like doing. Yes, nice. Now use the ribs. But keep the hips open. Ah, you're going to pike. Yes, nice. Good, good, good. Nice. Cool. Look good. Yeah, use the next minute to either do something you missed during the class today or something you want to do or repeat from the class today. Or just have a moment to stretch out. That's also fine. We've done a lot of quite heavy things today. That's a nice line, Josie. Yeah, now just reach to the sky, Shailina. Looks perfect. Yes, nice. Same for you, I think, like that I said to Astrid. Now the feet are nice. And then when you feel like falling out, try to find it here. To me, it really feels like I'm still reaching up and this goes back, but I'm not going forward or back. It's really just the more I stretch my legs out, the more the ribs go into the back. Yes. Nice. That was a good correction. Takes a bit to feel it. Good, long, nice and long. Yes, good. Okay, before we do it upside down, we do it seated. Let's see if I have enough space. The idea is to go in your straddle facing the wall, because I just have enough space. And you want to see how close you can be with the arms reaching up. Do that also for a minute, like reaching out to the side, pushing the sitting bones down. You don't want to be rounded or arched. You really want to think about handstand. So stay on your fingertips, root all the parts of your body down, meaning the arms are stretching out, the toes are stretching out, the sitting bones are pushing down. Let's try to do that first. Try to find that alignment. You will, in a minute, do it upside down in different variations. But this is the stretched out feeling you want to have in your straddle, especially if you want to do shapes with your straddle, meaning you want to go to the side. But also this is the distance you can have in your straddle upside down to the wall. So for me, it was like a palm distance between my straddle and the wall. Of course, that might feel very close, but you don't want to do more like another palm distance. So for the conditioning, we want to do the same. You want to be as close as you found yourself seated. So that would be just working on the straddle in the same position, only the big toes touching. You can also use that to either work on your flex or your one arm shifts, maybe just on one finger. But try to keep the awareness of having the ribs pushing back and the pelvis under, but still with the hips open. I will take the time and you can choose whichever drill you want to do. I'm going to say every 15 seconds when we're there. So if you want to do shifts, you also know more of the time. Okay, let's start in 3, 2, and 1. Find your straddle with the belly to the wall. Really focus on the ribs and pelvis. Get long in the lower back. Really nice alignment. 15 seconds are over. You need to change anything. Keep the push in the shoulders. Nice length, Astri. Super good. Get the ribs back. 30 seconds are over. Try to really fight for pushing the ribs into the back of the body. The elbow straight. 45 seconds are over. Almost there. Lengthen. Keep the back of the neck nice and long. Lengthen out. Only big toes touching. 3, 2, and 1. Nice. You're down. Just take your hands underneath the feet and step onto your wrists. Wiggle the toes if you like. I also like to keep my feet on my hands and kind of pull my shoulders in the space in between the shoulders. Release. Get your right elbow up and grab it with your left. Same idea, push the elbow up and go a bit to the side to open the side obliques and the ribs. Bring it back and switch. Grab the Opposite elbow, start the length first before you go to the side. Push both sitting bones down. Maybe look underneath your left arm. Back. Interlace both hands behind your back. Get onto your forehead and give some weight by reaching the hands away from your back. And find back into a child's pose. Let the arms come to the side. Pick one moment today of your practice that you're really proud of, that you liked, that you learned something new, where you surprised yourself. It's important to keep these moments. And then roll it all the way back up. Hold onto the front of your shins. Let's roll forward and back a few times to the chest, all the way back. Chest opens, pull, and exhale, release. Bring it all the way onto the belly. Elbow out to the side in one line with the shoulder. Tent the fingertips. Try to reach the toe towards your elbow. If it's too much with the bent arm, go for straight arm. But think of that reaching. The chest wants to go down, the toes want to go to the elbows, the knee points to the ceiling. Slowly unravel to the center to switch. Take some time to arrive and see how you can expand in all directions. Bring it back, tent both of your fingertips so you can move one shoulder at a time into the center and can mobilize your shoulders. And then come onto your forearms. Get your right knee up, your left hand in front. Take it to your glutes and give yourself a little stretch, but also invite the hip to go down, gaze over your right shoulder. Release. Same thing on the other side. Left knee hikes up, right arm as your support. Knees back to the belly. Windshield wipe the knees from right to left. And then connect the toes like in a diamond. And let the inner groin open. Most people, the feet are floating up in the air, but still imagine them being heavy. See where you can release tension in the shoulders, in the jaw, in the face, wherever you don't need it right now. And open the neck straight back out. Use your hands for support to come onto your knees. And walk the hands out to the front. If you want, you can go into the forehead or your chin. So here, I still use this drill to improve the length in the lower back and imagining the sacrum to go back, the fingers to go forward. Bring it up into a seat, maybe give a little moment to the neck to roll it out. Anything else that you need to finish your practice today? Thank you very much.